And then, Gaming and Tech is where we go next. In Gaming and Tech, we have Netflix testing out some new stuff for their gaming side. We also have Quake 2 magically appeared and everybody's playing it now. We'll talk about that, as well as some interesting stuff going on with Linus Media Group and Linus Tech Tips, slightly more specifically. So yeah, let's talk about all this. Welcome, nerds, to the Gaming and Tech News for the week. This is a clip that has been taken out of the main show, The Week in Nerddom, which goes up on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. In Gaming and Tech, we like to talk about, well, you know, gaming and tech, trailers, announcements for new tech and games and consoles and everything in between that is gaming and or tech related. So this week in Gaming and Tech, all of this stuff happened. In follow-ups and corrections, it's where we're going to spend most of our time for this episode. We're going to come out the gate with that Netflix bit. Netflix is in fact testing more of their game streaming service. This is interesting in that it is only in Canada and limited to Canada and Poland, and you have to, it's very specific even from those two countries. You have to have a certain smart TV. You can't be going over Apple because you don't do cloud gaming through the iStore for whatever reason. And I think that was basically it. You can do this on a computer as well if you're in those two countries. But the interesting thing is if you are on a smart TV and you have a smartphone, it would seem, or a tablet of some sort at the very least, then you download an app and your phone / tablet or whatever smart device you're using becomes your controller. So up until now, you've only been able to play Netflix games on PC. So this is expanding on that, and that's this new beta test, and that's really freaking interesting. The games that they're testing right now are Asphalt Xtreme, Offroad Racing, Bowling Ballers, This Is a True Story, Stranger Things 1984, and Stranger Things 3, the game. Eventually it will be doing their own games, but right now it's just those. And yeah, that's such an interesting, your phone as a controller for your TV. As far as gaming goes, obviously, wirelessly, cloud streaming, all of that, just very interested to see the results of this test. From there, let's talk about this YouTube stuff that's going on a little bit. I know it wasn't in the intro for anything yet, but here we are, YouTube. So YouTube is shutting off links in shorts. You can no longer link to anything in shorts. As of August 31st, it will be system-wide. Every YouTube short will no longer be allowed to link out to anything, because this is a way that they're combating or trying to combat spam. It very much remains to be seen if this will be at all successful. Though they do have things that are going to implement as a replacement for linking out from your video, and those will not be fully rolled out until the end of September. So it's going to take them it's going to take them about a month and a half to get this all rolling in the way they want it to go. Very much remains to be seen how well this is going to work, and some of the things that they're going to be putting in place aside from links is you're going to link back to your main page, and then on your main page you can link out to certain specific things like socials, your personal website, stuff like that. But some sort of approval process seems to be in order here, and that has not yet been made clear. So we'll be keeping an eye on this as it develops. But right now, that's all they're really making known. So continuing from there, speaking of things changing as far as malicious players are concerned, Xbox is updating their terms of service and their community standards policies when it comes to suspending players on their service. So new policy is they're trying to be transparent, quote unquote. New policy is 8 strikes and you're out, which seems really weird, but there are steps before you get to completely out. So once you hit it, it's community stuff. So if you are a typical Call of Duty player from like the early 2000s, then you're probably going to get banned pretty quick because it goes off of community reporting. So that's a little bit of a slippery slope, so hopefully they are able to navigate that well. But if you get reported and the report is found to be viable, then you get a strike. And once you hit 2 strikes, you are banned from the service for a day. The time frame for these, it has not been made clear yet either. So once you hit 2 strikes, that's a day ban. Once you hit 4 strikes, that is a week ban. And once you hit 8 strikes, that is a year ban. You are banned from using the Xbox Live service in any social way. So multiplayer, community boards, anything that involves you interacting with other people and not just purchasing DLC or in-game things, then you are cut off for a year. There is no time frame that they have made very public as far as how close together these strikes are. Is it strikes within a 3-month period? Is it strikes within a 6-month period? Is it strikes just any strike ever? Like you get a strike and then 10 years later you get 2 more strikes and then you're banned? Is that how that works? So yeah, if we can get more out of this, then we will, and we'll be keeping in tabs on it as much as we can. But that's all we got right now. So let's move to our final piece for follow-ups in gaming and tech. Mortal Kombat 1 emails should be going out very, very soon. If you have reserved your copy of Mortal Kombat 1, you should be getting the beta test email soon with your download code, so you can download the beta, partake in the beta this weekend, because once again it begins on the 18th. And yeah, I'm super excited. Like I said in the intro to the episode, we will be doing some live streams with the beta. So if you were not able to pre-order, if you are still potentially on the fence as to whether or not you want to pre-order, join me this weekend. It will be late night because I do have a day job, which is part of the reason why we're having issues scheduling our regular weekend streams. But there will be some late night Mortal Kombat 1 streams. You can count on it. That's what we got for follow-ups and corrections though. From there, we're moving into trailers, and there's a pretty big piece in trailers this week. Actually, kind of both of the trailers we got are pretty big news. First up, The Last Ronin is officially coming to be a thing. At the very least, it's going to be a PlayStation 5 game. I'm hoping that it is cross-platform, and I just was only able to find the Sony announcement for it. But there is a trailer for The Last Ronin. We talked about this previously when it was a rumor, so rumor confirmed. I can't remember, I don't remember what likelihood I gave it. I'm pretty sure it was fairly high, because usually gaming rumors are pretty likely when I get them from the sources I get them from. So yeah, The Last Ronin, it's a very brief teaser announcement trailer, so no gameplay or anything like that, so we are very likely still a good while away from launch of this game, but it's happening. There is one point of caution with this, because THQ Nordic is the publisher of this, but the producer, the studio that is going to be developing the game is a studio called Black Forest. And Black Forest has very little experience doing a game from the ground up. By and large, Black Forest has been a helping studio that has helped with other IP, but never have they, at least to my knowledge, have they created a brand new IP from scratch. So a little bit cautious about my excitement about this, but man, the Last Ronin is so iconic even at this point. Like, I'm very excited even with that little bit of trepidation. So that's the first one. The second one is also a confirmation of a gaming rumor. Again, I'm pretty sure I gave this one pretty high likelihood. Quake 2 officially launched. It is available for download right now. Go check out the trailer. You get so much in this, and it's like $11 to purchase this remastered version of Quake 2. You get the original game, you get both of the the expansions. You get the Quake 2 64, so the Nintendo 64 version of the game, plus you get a brand new expansion that's never been played before. They just created it for this remastered version, plus all of the multiplayer maps and everything, and so on and so forth. So super awesome. Yeah, confirmation. The trailer looks, I mean, it looks a little dated because they didn't completely remake the game. They just upgraded, so you have 4K and you have 120 freaking frames per second. This is how you do a basic remaster. Come on, Rockstar, take notes. From there, we have a couple pieces of regular ass news, and I'm not even gonna bury the lead on this one. We're jumping right out the gate with this Linus Tech Tips and Gamers Nexus battle. I think that's very unfair to what Gamers Nexus is doing, but the long and the short of it, the TLDR, if you will, basically the community and Linus Media Group has been kind of mixed as far as how they've dealt with this, but for some time now, the community has noticed some errors in Linus's, or in the LMG testing protocols. And the way they present their test findings is confusing at times. If you watch, there's a video linked from Gamers Nexus, actually 2 videos linked from Gamers Nexus, going into great detail with this. So if you want the very long and short of it, then click both of those links, because there's the original video and then the response to the response. But yeah, basically there's been some questionable things there. They made a comment in a recent tour video of their labs warehouse, saying that they do things to a certain standard that is higher than basically everyone else, and to which the community went, all right, so put the brakes on there, big guy, because we've got these things that we have issues with. And then it's a little bit even more than that. Because just some of their reviews have been brought into question because of this. Some of their review tactics have been brought into question, and some of their business tactics have been brought into question, because very specifically, which is the kind of the key point in a lot of this, at least for LMG, they hyper focused on this. So they got a water cooling system, a brass water cooling system from an upstart company that was, I'm sure, was a little pricey, but if you were looking for something like that, you're probably expecting to pay a fair amount of money. And they did it for a GPU. They did it for the 4090, and it was developed for the 3090, the AMD Intel. I can't remember the 3090, whatever. Sorry, I know I'm criticizing somebody for not getting details right, and then I'm forgetting details. But my details are less important. The important part is they didn't do it for the right GPU. They had to kind of jerry-rig it to get it to fit the 4090. And it didn't perform as it should because it wasn't on the 4090. And so they gave it a poor review. And instead of returning it to this upstart company that I believe is a company that's run by 2 or 3 individuals, a very, very small company, especially when compared to LMG, instead of returning it, they auctioned it off. And they're very specific to make sure that the community knows we didn't sell this thing that wasn't ours. We auctioned this thing that wasn't ours. So yeah, very strange delineation between, like, at the end of the day, you still gave away a thing that was not yours. Whether or not you received the money for it is irrelevant because it wasn't yours to give away. Anyway, so yeah, I probably have rambled a little bit too much about this. It's a very interesting back and forth. It is not a battle. I don't see what Gamers Nexus did as picking a fight necessarily. I see what Gamers Nexus did as something that anyone in any community should do when somebody gets really big in that community and starts making these very bold claims. Like, you kind of hold their toes to the fire, because when you get to a certain level, you should be able to handle having your toes held to the fire. And if you can't, then maybe there's some personal evaluation, some corporate evaluation even, that needs to be happening. And that's what Gamers Nexus was doing, was just kind of letting them know that they're not as great and as gold as they think they are. And, you know, there's certain things that you can do better, and here's how we think you can do them better. No necessarily, I mean, maybe towards at certain points in that video, maybe there was a little bit of malice intended, but by and large, the broad strokes of it was just keeping the community honest and helpful for consumers, much like myself. So yeah, it's not really a battle. It's just Gamers Nexus trying to be honest and constructive criticism. And then Linus Media Group did not respond well, and so Gamers Nexus kind of started taking off the kid gloves a little bit in that second video. But still, I feel like considering the situation and the way that LMG responded, it kind of makes sense that they would get slightly more hostile in their next response, but still being rather tame in my eyes. So I, again, rambled way too much. Let's move on, shall we? Other thing in regular ass news is a gaming bit, and it's going to be real brief. We got an update for, I guess this could have gone in follow-ups, but whatever. It's Fall Guys. They're getting Ninja Turtles skins in the Fall Guys store. The Ninja Turtles crossover is happening August 17th through August 31st because, I mean, everybody has a Ninja Turtles crossover now, so why not Fall Guys as well? It's kind of cool looking, like I dig it, but it's also quite silly. But from there, that's all we got for regular ass news. And that leaves us just suggestions. So suggestion this week for gaming and tech is a tech suggestion. I really suggest if you are tech involved, then you know LMG, you know Linus Tech Tips, you know that they pride themselves on being a very reputable source for information for consumers. And so go check out the Gamers Nexus video. Hopefully there will be a response video from LMG very soon, but the Gamers Nexus video is linked down low, as well as the response to their text response in the, it's some sort of forum. I don't know what forum they responded in. Probably the LMG forum, I would imagine. But yeah, that is your suggestion this week in gaming and tech, is just to inform yourself on this back and forth. Once again, this is just the gaming and tech section. It is a shortened piece of the much longer news show that I do over on youtube.com/generallynerdy, which is the main channel. There's a lot more music and comic books and movies and TV shows, etc., that can be found over there on the regular show. Thank you for joining me here, though, nerds. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.